Good morning, students.
Good morning,
Good
Doctor.
morning, doctor.
Good morning,
Okay,
doctor.
Good morning, doctor.
okay, thank you. Well, today we are going to resume our discussion for the chapter that we started already, which is
Chapter
entitled
5.
the Fundamentals, yeah, chapter 5. You remember last time we discussed the steps, or let me say the process of writing. You remember we tackled three steps, that is pre-writing, writing, and rewriting. Today we are going to discuss the organization of the paper. Okay, how can we sequence the material that we are going to write about? And if you can see with me, this, division, or the diagram that we have, and in the book on page 69 and 70. Okay, you can check with me if you see here. I wonder whether you can see here the
Yes, Doctor,
yeah,
it's clear.
yeah,
Yes,
here
it's clear.
it is the diagram that we are going to sequence the material accordingly, beginning with the introduction, and then background, and then we have the subdivision of the topic that we are going to write about. Of course, we are going to explain each division that we have in the diagram that we have in the book. And of course, these things will not be fixed in the way that we are going to discuss. What does this mean? It means that it depends on the outline that the researcher follows, in which the material will be distributed. Here, when we talk about introduction, for example, introduction, as I told you earlier, that it can be labeled, or it can be nominated as the statement of the problem for the research. So it doesn't mean that we are going to fix on the word introduction, but we are going to have an idea about what does it include, regardless of the title that we are going to have in the research, whether just to write a statement of the problem or introduction. Is that clear for you? So we are going to discuss what does each division include, regardless of the title that we are going to have for the research. Is that clear for you, or not? Just tell me.
Yes, Doctor, it's
Okay,
clear.
so here, normally we have three main parts. If we say that we have an introduction and body, and then we have conclusion. And I believe that this is in the following, or the completion of the diagram on the following page. Okay, you can see here conclusion. Okay, so when we talk about these three main parts, okay, within these parts, we have some sort of division, or what we call sub titles, subsections, for the things that we are going to include in the research. So what I need you just to consider that regardless of the titles that we have some sort of inclusion of the material, or the nature of the material that we are going to include in each part. So let us consider what do we have in introduction. So what I want you just to follow me on page 70. Okay, we have introduction. The introduction has two important purposes: gaining the reader's interest and presenting the thesis. Okay. So regardless again of the name that we are going to have in the research, whether just to say statement of the problem or introduction, we are going to have something to begin with. So what is the first thing that we have to do in writing the research paper? We have to give an idea about the topic that we are going to deal with in the research paper totally.
Doctor,
So
like
if
topic
we say,
sentence.
if we say that we are going to have introduction, so what do we have to include here? First of all, let us see what is the reason behind having a statement of the problem, or even when we say introduction. Here we have two things to consider. That is gaining the reader's interest. What does this mean? It means that we have to convince the reader that the topic to be selected in this research is of value. So to attract the reader's interest, our aim from the beginning is just to what? To tell that the reader has to have a value of the topic that we are going to write about. So this is our job. How to attract the reader? We have to know that the choice of the topic itself, which is related to us as researchers, okay, has different, let me say, ways to represent the importance. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that the reader of the research should have, let me say, something just to consider from the beginning. Is that of value? Is that of importance? So this is our job when we are going to consider the introduction for the research, to attract the reader's, let me say, mind, just to say that there is an importance, there is a value of the topic that is to be discussed in the research. But this does not mean that we are going to go totally with the readers. Of course, we have an aim, and this is very important. So here, it doesn't mean that we are going to go with the readers and the reader's interests. Of course, we have the interest of the topic that we choose. So we want just to balance between the two, our interest as a researcher and the interest of the readers. Once they are to be matched, once they are to be in the same way, it will be okay. So here, the very important point, once we are going to introduce for the topic, we want just to match these two. Our interest just to have this topic, and this interest should be matched with the interest of readers. This will be, achieved when there is a value of the topic. Okay, so our job is just to represent this value in this introduction. So is that okay or not? Just tell me. Is it understood?
Doctor,
Yes,
Doctor, it is.
Yes, doctor.
So
Doctor,
this is what is meant here. Okay, when we are going to have this point in this book. Okay, the introduction has two important purposes: gaining the reader's interest and presenting the thesis. What does it mean, presenting the thesis? It means presenting our topic. Remember a thesis statement when we define it, you see in the second chapter, okay? We said that this statement includes the topic or the main idea that we are going to discuss in the research. So here, what do we need? We need just to match our interest with the interest of readers, because we are going to write something to be read by others.
Doctor,
You should, yeah.
please.
Yeah,
You talk
yeah.
about how we can gain the interest of our reader. But
Yeah.
sometimes when we want to put maybe most important details about our research in introduction,
Yeah.
when we give all the information that we have in introduction, so will made our reader feel bored, because he will know all the information that we will put in the research. How we can deal with this?
Exactly. Here, I'm going to explain it in a different way. Suppose that you are having something just to be shown on TV. You see now, if it is to be said from the beginning, so no need just to watch it till the end. Okay.
Yes.
So
exactly.
here in the introduction or in the statement of the problem, we introduce. Why to say introduction? We give an idea, but we are going to make readers ask. Okay. So we are not going to give everything in the introduction. We are going to what? We are going to have. Let me say the beginning of the question that we have in our mind for the topic. Okay, we are going to make readers ask for more. This is the aim. So in the introduction, we are not going to tell everything.
Doctor,
We are going
to interest our reader.
Only show the value of the topic, and then we are going to make readers ask for more. Okay, I mean the introduction will give something, will elicit. You know the word elicit the questions in the mind of readers. So it doesn't mean that we are going to tell everything. We are going to what to make readers be persuaded by the idea first, and just to give the readers, I mean, the challenge just to ask for more. Just say, okay, what else? Okay, what we are going to have, what we are going. So in this case here, the introduction will not tell everything, and readers, of course, will not get bored. Okay, because we have other things just to add. Still, we say that we have other divisions. Okay, the body of the research. Okay, I mean, does it mean that it will be left or it will not be read? Of course, here from the beginning, we are going to make readers say, well, we should continue just to discover something. So we give okay, the hints or things that are going to make readers ask, what else? What is more? Get the point now?
Doctor,
But will you have something?
So
Yeah.
in our
Yes,
introduction, when we start about maybe gaining the interest, I will give some important information to get interest of our reader, and also maybe continuous to giving him important information to continuous his reading.
Okay, so what does
complete my research?
Yeah, what does it mean? It is just to say introductory ideas. Okay, they are not. I mean everything. They are things just to what, to make readers ask for more. Say what else? Okay, what do we have? What are the details of these things? only hints for these things. Yes, but
It's clear.
Yes.
Thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Doctor,
yeah.
I want to say, are you mean in introduction is answer about why choose this topic, why
Yeah,
I write
yeah,
about
yeah,
this
yeah,
topic.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
reader ask why he or she write about this topic, and
exactly.
introduction answer about why choose this topic. So I answer and I complete the information after introduction in body and conclusion.
Very good, very good. And that's how we say that showing the value. What you say
Yes,
the value
doctor,
from the
I
beginning.
understand
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this point.
yeah, yeah. So showing the value means that we are going to have the answer for why to choose this topic specific. Let us see the other things that we are going to discuss in introduction. Okay. We have things to help us, I mean, just to write the introduction. One of these things is a motivator. Okay, what do you mean by motivator? We said that our aim just to address the reader's interest and just to match it with ours when we are going to have the research. So we have the word motivator to make I mean readers to be interested with the what with the topic of the research. Motivator should gain your readers' interest, but not in a way that will distract them from your thesis. What does it mean? We are not only addressing the reader's interest, but our aim is just to match our interest with the interest of readers. So it should lead naturally into the thesis. Okay. One way to write a good motivator is to tell a story that provides background, and this is very important, for your thesis or serves as striking example. Okay. So here we have ways to address the interest of readers. That is having background. What to say background? The word background means that the problem that we are going to discuss is not out of nothing. There are what we call roots. You know the word roots? ROOTS.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
Yes, doctor. Yes.
origins, things that are to be gathered, okay, about the problem that we are going to discuss. So this means that we are going to convince the reader of the value. It means that we are going to make readers trace. You know the word trace, TRACE.
Yes. Yes, doctor.
Trace
yes,
the
sir.
origin, or
Yes. Yes.
let me say things, and that's why we have what we call theoretical background. Theoretical background of what? Of the topic that we are going to discuss. It means that readers are going to check with us. Okay, is it of value just to what to write about the chosen topic? Is that of value? Is that of origins, or it comes out of nothing? Okay, so here this is a good way just to motivate readers just to what? To read more about the topic that we have. So here making a theoretical background makes the topic of value. It means it will be important because it has origins. It has things that to be traced. Okay, whether historically speaking, if we say, or if it is of different variables. You know the word variables. Factors that are to be traced, okay, different variables or different factors, okay, or it has, let me say, historical background. That is just to see what, for example, other schools of writings, or let me say, schools of theories that we have for the chosen topic. Is that okay? So this is what we call background. Why to say background? Because we are going to motivate readers to trace the origins of the problem to be discussed in the research. Okay, this is way number one. So what do we have next? On page 71, we have another type of motivator. I wonder whether you can see it in the book. Is that okay? The
Yes,
second
Doctor.
paragraph. Okay.
Yes, Doctor, yeah.
Another type of motivator, one that many writers rely on time after time, uses a contrasting opinion to build interest. Okay. So either just to have background, or we have something else that is using some sort of contrary ideas. Okay. Supporting and arguing, or let me say, being against, okay, opposing ideas. It just like you see, you know, the program that is the opposite side, the opposite direction. That is what to represent different or opposing ideas. This is just to make the reader okay, going just to see what stand to be with. Is it to agree or disagree? So when you represent contrast, you make readers more motivated just to have a stand. Am I going to go with this opinion or that opinion? So this will make the reader more motivated rather than just to represent ideas without having contrast. With contrast means that we have two opposing ideas, and we need just to settle which is for example, more acceptable, or which is to be correct, this way or that way. So this will make readers read about just to have a stand, you know, to have a stand, to have, let me say, a definite opinion. Okay, so this is again a good way just to represent the idea by having contrast, by having some sort of controversy. You know, controversy, we want just what we have some sort of discussion. Okay, so with discussion we raise an idea of different opinions, so readers will be with us just to know which opinion that he is going to choose. Okay, so the reader will read more and more in the research just to have a stand. So this is again another motivator. So we have two motivators: background or opposing ideas. Is that okay?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor.
So here you may say, well, will I choose this way or that way? It depends. It depends on the idea that you chose. What does it mean? It means that you are not going to, select from the beginning background or opposing, ideas. The idea that you choose will lead you which way you motivate your readers, this way or that way. So it depends. We are not going to say all these things will follow background, or all topics will follow opposing ideas. Okay, so here again you are having, let me say, the idea, and the idea will tell you which technique you follow to introduce. Is it by having background, or is it by having opposing, ideas? Just like if I give you an example, okay? If the topic is about, for example, early marriage, if you say early marriage, this idea, okay, implies some sort of opposing, let me say, opinions. Are you with, early marriage or against? So the idea itself will tell you that you have to follow the opposing idea rather than the background. Is that okay?
It depends on the topic.
It depends on the topic, and the topic will lead you which technique that you are going to motivate your reader. Is it by using background or by opposing ideas?
Doctor, you're talking about the contrasting ideas.
Yeah.
If we present our thesis in contrasting ideas, and our reader feel doubt about these maybe opinions, we know how we can deal this. We can say this is he feel doubt, or just he is not convinced.
No. Here it is your job. It is your job just to what, to make the reader take a stand, because the reader will not take a stand from the beginning. It is only introduction for the opposing ideas, and then at the end, with the conclusion that you have, still we said something about conclusion, and this is one definite part of the research. In the conclusion, you are going to take a stand, and then if it is convincing, the reader will be with you, and if it is not convincing, the reader will say that no, I'm against this opinion. This is
just he is against my opinion, not he feel doubt.
Yes, please. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, doctor. Yes, we can.
Well, now you see, I'm using the mobile. You see, because the laptop is off now. So is it okay now just to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, doctor. We can hear you perfectly.
Well, still we are talking about the two motivators that we discussed earlier, and we are having now something about the background, okay? But before this, let us have something about the motivator itself. Here, if you consider the second paragraph on page 71, the last 4 lines, the intent of this type of motivator is to arouse interest by revealing controversy and promoting to solve it. Can you follow this or not? Just tell me.
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
Okay. The intent of this type of motivator is to arouse interest by revealing a controversy and promising to resolve it. This is the answer of the question that is, I mean, is it to be given in the introduction? No, we said that it is what? It is to be given in the conclusion at the end of the research. So the conclusion will include the researcher's opinion, and now readers will be free just to be with or against. Now, let us move to background section. We said that this is a technique in which we are going to what? To motivate readers just to be with the topic chosen. If you need to provide your readers with background, the introduction, as we just mentioned, may be a good place. Sometimes, however, an introductory paragraph just does not allow enough space. Then you might consider a background section between the introduction and the first major topic supporting your thesis. So what does this mean? It means that the introduction will have background, but if it is not to be enough just to write about the background, it will be a separate section. It will be a separate section, and this is very important. If we say it is a separate section, what does it mean? It means that we are going to have a theoretical background as a separate section, which is to be related to what is to be discussed in the introductory section. So here, this will be followed when we feel that the background would need more elaboration, more explanation, rather than just to be given in a single paragraph. So is that okay or not, Estelle? Is it understood?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
doctor.
Okay, so
Yes.
here we have two choices. If we feel that it is enough just to give background in the introduction and say it's okay, so it will be within the introduction. But if we feel that the details that we have for the background needs more elaboration, we are going to specify a separate section after the introduction in which we are going to be, I mean, more, let me say, elaborative, or it will help us just to give more details, more explanation, and this will help, let me say, I mean, readers to just to have more ideas about the topic itself, rather than just to be limited in a single paragraph. Okay, we move to a different, let me say, section, that is the body. That is on page 72. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
doctor.
doctor. Yeah.
Okay. Here, as let me say, a definite section, if we say that we begin with introduction, and then we have a background section, if it needs that, we have the body. Why to say the body here? Because this is our job as researchers. Okay, with the introduction, we represent the value, the aim of the topic itself. With the background, we have what is I mean, mentioned by the resources that are related historically, if it is historical, or the origin of the problem. But in the body, what we are going to discuss?
The main information.
Of course, here the topic that we choose is to be divided into subsections or keywords. If we consider, for example, consider the topic itself, the topics include different elements within the title itself. So we are going to divide up the topic, okay, in the body, okay, and these, let's say, subdivisions will be sequenced in accordance to the topic chosen. For example, if we are considering a topic just like this, the performance of EFL learners, this is the title, in recognizing and using adjectival clauses. This is a grammatical, let me say, topic in which we are going to discuss different elements. We have performance. What do you mean by performance? That is the achievements. Okay. And then we have EFL learners. Okay. This is another element. That is what? Those who are studying English as a foreign language. So we are having another element. So you see now, I'm dividing up the topic or the title into elements, and these elements to be discussed in the body. And then we have adjectival clause. So here, these elements will be sequenced in the body according to, let me say, the aim of the topic. Now, what is the aim here? Is just to check the performance, the achievement. How can this to be presented in exam or a test? So, first of all, we are going to begin with the adjectival clause as a grammatical, let me say, element. We discuss it in detail, and then we move to EFL learners as what? As learners of this grammatical element. And then we have another, let me say, element to be discussed. That is how to make a test in which we are going to check the performance of EFL learners in, I mean, in this practical, let me say, way of checking their abilities with this topic. So in this case, the body itself include the elements of the topic or the division of the keywords of the title that we are going to have, and these will be subsections of the body. Clear or not, just
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor, it's clear.
Yes, Doctor, it's clear.
So briefly speaking, if we say, what is the body? The body includes the elements of the topic to be sequenced according to the aim of the study. You may put it this way as a definition, okay? It includes the elements of the topic to be sequenced according to the aim of the study. Now
Doctor,
here,
please. Doctor,
yes,
could you repeat it? Could you repeat it?
Yes, yeah. The body includes the elements of the topic to be sequenced. You know, sequence comes one after the other. To be sequenced according to the aim of the study.
Element what?
To be sequenced, it means which comes one, and what is next, and what is next. So this will be related to the aim of the study. Is it practical? Is it theoretical? Is it, I mean, contrastive? What is to be contrastive? To have contradiction between two things, or comparison between two things, and then we are going to have what is similar and what is different. So here, again, the aim of the study will, lead the researcher how to sequence the elements of the topic, which comes first, and then let me say the other elements to be sequenced one after the other. Here in
Doctor,
this book,
how can I
yeah.
decide? Yes.
Yes. Yes,
How can I
Shahad.
decide what is the first element?
How can you decide what is the first element? Of course, we said this is related to your topic. I gave you an example. If you remember, we said that the performance of EFL learners in using adjectival clause. So here, if we decide which is the first element, of course, the adjectival clause, it will be the first element to be discussed, because we need just to discuss the let me say the grammatical element that we are going to examine the learners about. So we begin with the adjectival clause, we give an idea about it, and then we move to the EFL learners as the sample to be examined about this grammatical element, and then we decide what kind of test, and that's why we have performance. So performance comes at the last point. You see now? So considering this example, we need just to sequence the body according to the aim of a study. What is the aim of a study here? What is the aim of study according to the example? We need just to focus on a grammatical point, and then we check the sample. So we move from one element to another according to the elements of the topic. Okay, we have a grammatical point, we have a sample, and we have a practical part that is a test. So we talk about the grammatical element, and then we talk about the sample, and then we move as a last point for the practical part, that is the test, to check the performance of the EFL learners according to this grammatical point.
Yes, doctor. Thank you.
See, when I give an example, it will be very clear, because without an example,
yes, right.
And forgive me not just to write these things, because I'm using the mobile, and with this I'm not able just to represent the example. Only I'm saying this orally, just to know, because you see now this will be more clear if it is to be given in laptop. Anyway, here we have something to be said about the body. The second paragraph on page 72. Okay, the difficulty, of course, is finding. I don't know whether you find it or not. Just tell me. The difficulty, difficulty, of course, is finding those major topics. They seem almost impossible to see as you begin your research, but the more you know about your topic, the further you've progressed in the research process, the easier the major topic will be to be found. You see here, what does this mean? This is just to confirm what I said. That is what. When you know more about your topic, it will be easier to sequence. Here, when we say the sections or the major topic, what does it mean? This is the subsections that you are going to do in the body. If we say major topic, it means the subsections. You remember previously I showed you the way that we do subsections. This is to be numbered. You see, if it is chapter 2, for example, we say 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4.
Yes,
so these
doctor,
are,
we remember.
that what? So if we say major topics, what does it mean here? Subsections. subsections. You know, we have different terminology to be used here and there. And that's why when I say major topics, it means the subsections that we are going to sequence in the body. That is. So here, just to say that this will be done when we divide the topic into the keywords, and the keywords will be sequenced according to the aim of the study. Here, with this, we have something just to be said about transition. So notice that our model shows that each major topic division begins with a paragraph of transition and explanation, and this is very important. Here we have a technique in order just to move from one subsection to another. We have what we call a transition. What do you mean by transition? A transition means that when I have section number 1, it introduces for the coming subsection, and this will be considered as a transition, because here when I have subsections, or let me say major topics, there must be some sort of unity. You know, unity here. With unity, it means that we need just to have some sort of relation. This is one. Second, there is some sort of coherence. You know the word coherence. So subsection 1 should be related to subsection 2 and for the coming subsections. In this case, what does this mean? It means that transition is our technique to relate. Of course, you may do it in the last, for example, line for each subsection. For example, you talk about something in subsection 1, and then you are going to say, okay, this will be discussed more, specifically in the following subsection. So in this case, we make some sort of a transition that is moving from section to another, putting a relation among the sections that you are going to move from one to another. Is that okay? So this is what we call a transition. Transition showing the relation among the different subsections to be written in the body. Is that
Doctor,
okay?
sometimes when we read some books, we find in the final of the chapter that we read that we will discuss this topic maybe in a good way or another details.
Yeah.
So this is
by the way, you are talking about what is found in books. Yeah, this is a good example. But you know that we are writing a research. You see, when you write a research is different from writing a book. So when we are talking about this, of course, we refer, it's okay. But here, in writing a research, you may refer by having, let me say, a sentence or the last line of the section or the preceding section, and then you are going to refer. It's okay to be, let me say, having a comparison between this and what is found in books. But you see, the division of the book will be different from the division of a research.
Doctor, but just the idea is the same.
It's a good example just to show the relation. Yes, it is a good example. Yeah, I agree with you that this is a good example. It's just to show the relation among the sections that we have. Yeah. So here, sometimes you'll need a short paragraph to make the transition. Okay. Particularly if the major topic makes a number of pages to present. Otherwise, to avoid being too heavy-handed with the structure, you may wish to combine into one paragraph both a transitional sentence or two and the first part of your support of your major topic. In other words, transitional paragraph is not always necessary, but some sort of transition is. So here, as it is mentioned here in the book, transition can be done by one or two sentences or even by a paragraph. So again, it depends. It depends. So when I say it depends, there is no rule, specific rule for this. So you are free the way that you are going to make this transition. If it is to have a paragraph, it's okay. If it is just to have one sentence or two sentences, it will be okay. So this will be related to you. It depends on the topic. It depends on your own way. It's just to sequence your own, subsections. This is one. Second, again, it is related to your own way of writing and the need for each subsections to be related with the other, whether it needs a paragraph or a sentence. But the point is that you have to consider that you must find and transition, or let me say, you must find some sort of relation among the separate sections that you are going to have in the body. So is that okay?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Thank
Yes.
you.
No. Now we move to what? We move to conclusion, and this is very important. The conclusion serves two purposes. It reminds the readers of the thesis, and it provides a sense of finality. Okay, now we have two things. What to say it reminds the readers of the thesis? Of course, when you say it reminds, it means that it gives a summary of what is to be tackled from the beginning till the end. But when we say so it is not just to have a memory. Of course, you may say that in conclusion, the summary will recognize the main ideas or things that are tackled briefly, but it is not serving as something just to remind the reader, but again to recognize things that are achieved in the research. This is one. And then finality. What is finality? What does it mean? We have to reach something. We have what we call findings. You know the word findings?
Yes.
Findings.
Yes,
Okay,
doctor.
results. Yeah,
Discovery.
results. Yeah. So here we have two things. We sum up, we summarize, we find let me say the main points that we have. But this is not the end. We need just to have results. So what are the results that we have for the research? So in this case, we need just to mention these things. You see now, reminding the readers of thesis does not mean repeating the words used in the introduction. You might do no more than imply the thesis, but you do want to make your points one more time after the readers have read all the supports. The clincher provides the sense of finality to your paper. You do not want the readers to turn to the last page and expect to find more of your paper. Okay, you don't necessarily have to have a clever quotation to end with, and you don't want to suggest a new and unsupported thesis. One of the best ways to clinch the end is to return to the introduction, motivators,
to close the loop. What does this mean? This is very important. Now, what we are going to have in the results? Of course, in the introduction, we have to have what we call a thesis statement, or let me say hypothesis or an aim. We have aim of study. At the end of the research, we have to confirm what we aimed or what we hypothesized. So in the conclusion, we have some sort of what? Of a relation between what we introduced and what we concluded. As we have an aim, this aim should be achieved at the end of the research, and this will be put where? In the conclusion. Suppose that we have hypothesis. Okay, if I say, for example, I'm back to the example that we have for the performance of EFL learners in using adjectival clause. If we have hypothesis, we say that EFL learners, we say at the beginning, EFL learners have difficulty in using adjectival clause. Suppose that this is the aim of the study. This will be proved practically at the end of the research and to be put in the conclusion. And we say that at the end of the research, we confirm, you know the word confirm. We confirm
Yes.
that we confirm that the hypothesis is achieved. And this is very important. Is it okay or not? Just tell me. Shall I repeat?
Yes. Yes, Doctor.
In the conclusion, we have to confirm the hypothesis or the aim of the study that is to be written previously where? In the introduction. In the introduction, we have hypothesis or we have aim. This aim or this hypothesis should be confirmed in the conclusion. We say that by the end of the research, we confirm the hypothesis. And sometimes this hypothesis will be confirmed partially. Of course, we cannot expect that things will be done perfectly as we suppose. In the hypothesis, we suppose something. But after having a practical part, for example, okay, things will not be the same as we hypothesized. Not the same, but partially, for example, the same. Okay, this will be proved where? In the conclusion. Is that okay? Is it understood?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, Doctor.
You may say here, the conclusion will prove the hypothesis that we have in the introduction, briefly speaking. Okay. That is all about conclusion. We move to support. The key to good support is just to make very, very detailed. If you want to make a point, really make it, then you must illustrate it. What does it mean? Here, support will not be, let me say, a separate section. This will be within, for example, the background, within the body, okay? All these things will be related to what we got from the references or the sources that we collected for the topic that we chose. So with the support, what does it mean? Detailed explanation. Of course, this explanation will not be done by, for example, a few lines. Of course, some, for example, lines will need some sort of elaboration. So here, one of the basic point just to write a research is just to have detailed explanation. It is not only just to give an idea about, but you have to illustrate, to elaborate. I'm going to give you an example. Again, if you write something about grammar, you explain the rule.
Yes.
Okay, you explain the rule, but the rule may be just to be given in one line or two lines, just to say the rule, because the rule is something fixed. But how can you illustrate? How can you explain? By having examples. Suppose that you are going to have something about comparison between two tenses in grammar. For example, past simple and present perfect. You know, there is a relationship between the two, because there is something related to the past in the two tenses. Okay, of course you explain, you mentioned the rule, but the rule will not be enough. You have to provide examples. You know, examples for the rule. You give example, and then you explain the idea behind the example. That is what we call support. Support is just to give detailed illustration, and this is your job. And this will not be, as I said, a separate section. It will be within, you know the word within the body, and within the background.
Yes.
If you have a background which is of separate section. Here in support, this is your job, because in the research, let me say, development, you need just to recognize things that are to be mentioned briefly. If they are mentioned briefly according to the resources, your job is just to illustrate. Your job is just to you find some sort of explanation. Suppose that you have something about literature. Of course, you for example, you choose something from a novel, or maybe speeches, okay, dialogues, things that are related to development of the novel or of the literary work. But this will not be enough. You have to explain what are between the lines of the speeches that are to be chosen. So this is what we call support. That is what detailed explanation of the things that are to be written in the research regarding what? Regarding the topic that you choose, whether it is related, for example, to literature or even to grammar or any other things. So again, it depends on the topic itself. How can you explain it? The way that you are going to illustrate. Is that okay?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we move to page 76. Page 76. We have unity and coherence, and we said something about it, but we need just to read what we have in the book. With unity, as we have already mentioned in this chapter, unity means that all material in the paper is pertinent to the thesis statement. What does it mean pertinent? It is related, closely related. There shouldn't be any asides or digression or distract from your main point. And this is, you see now, this is the problem of some researchers. They may include things that are irrelevant. Why? Just to make the research, seems longer, and say when we make it longer, it will be okay. No, this is wrong. You have to include what is related, and you have to what? You have to leave things that are not related to the topic. because here any inclusion of unrelated material, it will be defect of the research, and it will be misleading. What is it to be misleading? Because here the research will be read. When it is to be read, okay, the reader should find a relation among the different things that are to be written. And if there is no relation, it means that there is misunderstanding. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
So
Yes,
here,
doctor.
what we need is just to represent some sort of unity. It should be closely related to the topic. Of course, you see now, dividing up the topic into subsections doesn't mean that we are going to tackle them separately. No, we need just to find some sort of relation, and this is what is mentioned earlier by transition. And with this, we have to include only the material that is related to the topic. Irrelevant material should be left. Then the best place to check for unity, that is the last paragraph, by the way, the best place to check for unity is the detailed outline you use for writing your first draft. And this is very important. You see now, once you have outline and you follow your outline, it will be okay. There is no inclusion for the material that is not related to them. So the best way just to back to your outline to see what material just to be included and what is not. If, as often happens, you find that you must revise your outline while writing the paper, be sure that the revised material is also pertinent. Okay. Last thing, we have coherence. A coherent paper is one in which the readers are never lost. They know when they are moving from one point to the next and how those points are related to the thesis. 3 ways of achieving coherence are specifically useful. Let us see what are these. First, be sure to move clearly from one topic idea to the next. One way to signal this shift is to relate the upcoming topic to the one you've just finished. You remember, we said this earlier. We said that there must be a transitional sentences or a transitional paragraph. And this is what is meant by the first technique or the first way. Okay. The other, let me say, point or the other technique. Second, when you begin a new major section of your paper, remind your reader of the thesis by mentioning keywords or ideas from the thesis statement. So this is technique number 2. The other things, finally, provide transition from idea to idea, even if you use nothing more sophisticated than first, second, and finally. Okay, we've used the technique in this paragraph to help you work way through the list of 3 techniques. So here, you are free to choose the technique that suits you, or it depends on even the topic itself. How can you make coherence among the things that you are going to write, of course, in your research? With this, I believe that we finalize this chapter, and this chapter, of course, include the processes of writing, the organization, and unity and coherence. So is there any question about this chapter? Any question about these things?
Yes, doctor, I have.
Yeah, tell me.
It's about the second point. When we say that we should begin a new major section by mentioning keywords of the thesis statement, wouldn't this be too much repetitions as we have many major sections? So wouldn't this make it repetition
Well,
or
well, you see now, this is not to be, let me say, obligatory for you. If you feel that it is too much, do not follow it. So I believe that the best way is just to have transitional sentences or paragraphs. This is one. Or you may use you see, when we say first, second, third. And by the way, I believe that numbers will be okay,
yes,
just to move from one section. That's why we say 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. These points will be very helpful just to move from one, because you are not going to do it by one section. Okay, moving from one subsection to another. We said that we have different ways. It doesn't mean that we are going to repeat these words. If I'm with you with this point. If it is just to be too much, and it will be
yes,
some sort of repetition, okay, and it will be not helpful, okay, do not follow it. Follow the numbers, follow the transitional, let me say, sentences or paragraph. It will be okay.
expressions, yes. I understand. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah. Any other question?
Doctor, the introduction.
Yes. Yeah.
We wrote it in our style, or we just take it from the sources.
Well, no, it should be written according to, let me say, the technique that you studied earlier, paraphrasing. Okay, but here
Yes.
with paraphrasing, we said that it will work with, I mean, maybe 80% of the research totally. It doesn't mean it comes with the introduction, with the body, with the background, all these things. So here, when we say, is it to be quoted? No, this will not be, I mean, the technique just to write your introduction. And since it is just to be labelized as what? A statement of the problem. So you are going to what? To write in your own style, on your own words. Because
Yes.
yes. Because this will be related to your own idea. You are to be led by the statement or the thesis statement. That's the aim of study. The study will not be quoted from the resources. This is your aim, your individual aim as a researcher.
And it's just a hint about the information that we mentioned in the body.
Yeah. We said earlier that here we discuss in the introduction, we are not considering, let me say, the topic in detail. We are giving the value. We are giving some sort of, let me say, introduction of the material to be discussed in detail in the following sections.
Okay, doctor. Thank you. It's clear.
Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, tell me, Batul.
Yes, doctor. Not question, but I understand because your explanation very clear. But I ask about my simple sentence about conclusion, if it's right or not. I understand that I can say the conclusion is the remainder of the information in the introduction and the body, but it is not the same words. Rather, rather analyzes, and secondly, the conclusion can be like I say, this is the end of my research in an indirect way. That the reader can easily understand I want to finish my research. Is this
Yes.
sentence right?
Yeah, you have to know that it is again related to the topic itself. Sometimes the topic needs some sort of analysis. Other topics need some sort of comparison. Other resources that let's say related to these things will be, I mean, discussed, and then the analysis will be based on the resources that you checked, and then you put, let me say, your analysis accordingly. This is one. Second, other researchers need some sort of what we call practical parts, maybe having tests, okay, or even other tools just to prove a questionnaire, or if we say checklist, all these things, okay. So with conclusion, we are going to have what results that we reached in the research itself, and then we putting them in our own words, in our own style. I mean, having what we call the summary of the main ideas that are to be discussed.
Doctor, like the paraphrase the idea or not?
Yeah, and the findings. If we say the findings, the results that we reached, even the results. If it is related to, for example, a test, it will be mentioned statistically, you know, mathematically. Okay, all these things will be, I mean, mentioned in the conclusion, and it will again make a relationship between the aim of study, as we said, or the hypothesis, and the results that we reached.
Okay, Doctor. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Doctor.
It's okay. It's okay. Well,
Doctor, if may I?
Yeah, Oda?
Yes. Doctor, for the conclusion part, it serves as a reminder. Within it, we can confirm our statement and achieve the goals of the study and state the results. Can we say that on top of all this, we recommend something as a solution to a problem or such a thing? Because I have read a lot of such a thing, that in the conclusion you include some recommendations.
This is a good point. When we say recommendation, when we say suggestion, yes, of course, this will be again related to the conclusion. But this will be given after having the results, okay? Because the results will show something. As I told you earlier, that it is related to the topic itself. If we have analysis of results, it will be a separate section because it is related to a practical part. And this is, again, related to the body of the research. So if it is to be based on in a separate section as interpretation or analysis of results, then after these things, of course, we are going to have what suggestions or recommendations. Of course, it can be included where in the conclusions. So here you mention the summary of the ideas discussed. You mention the results, and then based on the results, you are going to have or present suggestion and recommendation. That is of course to be included in the conclusion. Okay, but remember that this is related to the topic itself. Not all topics have practical parts, and we have analysis of some researchers only having some sort of comparison or contrastive study or something like that.
Yes, just to confirm something.
Yes. So here again, it depends. Normally, any researches that are related to practical parts can have suggestions and let me say recommendations. Okay, but other things I believe no, because you see now we don't have a practical part, we don't have results analysis. So in this case, we cannot have suggestions, because you see now when we have analysis for the results, you are going to discover what are the errors or the mistakes that are happening there, here and there. And then you are going to provide solutions for the things that you feel that they are incorrect or they are mistaken. Okay. And then you are going to include it in the suggestions or recommendations. So normally, normally with things that are having a practical part, just like tests or questionnaires or checklists. Is that okay?
Doctor, please.
Yes. Tell me.
Sometimes when I'm looking for information, I'm just searching about some reports, some research. But sometimes when I find the title that I want, I didn't find the information that maybe told me about the topic found in the research or in the paper. I found one information, just maybe useful. Can we consider this report or this research a good? And sometimes I find unrelated information about the topic I want.
You mean the availability of resources? You feel that they are not enough just to write a research about?
Yes.
Yeah. This point we discussed it earlier, if you remember.
Yes.
So it means that there is a defect on choosing the topic itself. You remember?
Sometimes when I want to research about topic, when I found a research, I looking for something specific. I didn't find the information that I want in the research. In spite that the title is the topic I want.
So,
can I
here, what does this mean? It means that there is a defect of the research itself. The research includes some unrelated material, and the title is misleading. So what does this mean? It means that this is the problem of the researcher that is made. I mean, the research itself that is made wrongly. I mean, you chose a research, you feel that it is of your interest, or that is a good source for you just to begin with. But when you read it, you feel that it is not okay. So what does it mean?
Exactly.
It means that the research itself is wrong, is not written in the scientific way in which you can consider it as a good resource.
Exactly.
So the research itself, it is not with you, because you need just to have the information and you follow the title, but you feel that the title is too far from the information that is given in the research.
Exactly. So sometimes when I want just looking for information, I just find the research. Sometimes I feel myself losing
remember that not all the researches or not all the research that are found in libraries are perfect. So many, I mean, if we consider that many research do not follow the scientific, I mean, or the methodology, the scientific factors or the methodology of good writing. And that's why you can
they publish them.
This research, this research is misleading and you should not follow. What does it mean? It means that there is something wrong with this research. So
you said it is not follow.
You should not use it because it is misleading. Because when you compare the title with the I mean the content of the research itself, you feel that it is not related. And you remember we said something about unity and coherence. If it is not
exactly. We said about unity and coherence. I remember
this. There is something wrong with the research itself. So you should not follow this research. You feel that it is of no value, it is not useful, so you can leave it and you can go to another research which is of value, or it is more useful than the research
As
that
you
chose.
said, doctor, we should have little suspicions. Exactly. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
yeah. That is very important. Yeah, you have to consider it, because here you are moving from being a writer to a reader. So you know that the process of writing begins by reading. So you have to know that when you are a good reader, you are I'm sure to be what, a good writer, because you recognize, you evaluate, and then you are going to be a good example, because you have the ability to say that this is wrong. This is the idea.
Thank you. It's very clear. Thank you very much.
It's okay. And with this, I'm going to finalize the lecture. But before that, I want just to tell you something about the exam.
Yes, doctor.
Last week that we did the exam, and the results will be uploaded in the, shortly after I have electricity, I'm going to upload the results in the, class. And I'm going to tell you something about the results. Generally, the results are very good, and you are, having good results with the exam. But let me tell you that the result is not, let me say, the final decision about the mark. It means it's not the final mark. Okay. The exam is
Out of 20. Yes, doctor.
electronically, and it is MCQ. Okay. Sometimes one of the defects of the MCQ exam, it will not be the real representative of the let me say, of the level of student. Some students may have let me say marks by chance, okay, because it is true, false, and multiple choice, and guessing, and let me say things that are related to answer by chance will play a good role in deciding the
Yes,
mark.
doctor. Yes.
I can do nothing about these things, because the correction is done electronically, and mark is related to the answer of the questions. Okay, I gave a good time for students just to answer, and even the questions are not that too long. 5 items for each questions. So I'm repeating that this is not the final mark. Once you are going to know your mark, once you are going to have your mark, remember that this is not final, because still we have marks about the daily preparation. We have marks for oral
exam.
exam, and later we are going to decide for this marks for
Also a report.
the regular attendance for let me say the lectures. So here, don't worry about the final average. It will be, I believe, it will be good representative for the level of students. And that the monthly exam is of 20. It doesn't mean that it will have let me say a big mark. Still, you have 30 marks, and good students, brilliant students, will sure have their marks that represents their own level. I have only two students who did not examine. I don't know whether they are available here in the meet or not. We have Zainab and Zahra. Only two students who, messaged me in the class, and they said that they did not exam because of maybe the misconnection of the net at the time of the exam. So what I going to do, I'm going to message them the time for the exam that they are going to have. Maybe next week I'm going to have let me say an announcement in the let me say in the Google class. I'm going to tell them which time that they are going to examine, and I don't know whether there are other students or not. Once the results will be uploaded, I want any students who are not having their own marks to tell me, or to message me in the Google class to tell me or to inform me that their marks are not found.
Inshallah.
Doctor,
Is that
Inshallah.
okay? That's okay for, yeah, tell me please.
Doctor,
Yeah.
please, about exam. I
Yeah.
feel I'm not good at the exam because I couldn't read, because I found my brother had an accident. Please don't consider
Well,
me a negative. Well,
no, Batul. I have, let me say, a good idea about my own students. We spent at least 8 lectures, okay?
Yes,
And
doctor.
with these things, good students are showing themselves with their own participation. And of course, good students will be
yes,
evaluated
I know that, but
regardless of the monthly exam. You have to know that it is not final results. Later
Yes,
we
doctor.
are going to have the averages, and of course you are going to gain the mark that you deserve. I know that you are good students, you are
yes,
participating
doctor, I know that,
regularly.
but
So
I
here,
can't read
still
good.
you have to know your mark, and then you are going to do. You see, now, as I said, even the test is corrected electronically,
Yes.
because the test form
Yes,
Yes,
is
doctor.
having the key answer, and it is done electronically. I don't have any idea about the correction, because the correction is based on the key answer. So
yes,
the mark is related to the electronic correction. So whether you answer this way or that way, you are going to have your own mark. But again, I'm repeating, this is not final. When I say it is not final, it means that this will not be your mark for the average. Still, we have 30 marks, and you know that we are not going to do more than one exam. It will be only this exam
yes, yes,
to give the chances for the other activities. Okay, we are not going to have the exam just to be the criteria for the mark. Are having other things that are related to the activities that we did earlier. If you remember, the assignments, the daily preparation. When I ask students within class, all these things will be considered. So this is
Inshallah,
just
doctor. Thank you.
students, to tell students, to participate more, because I wouldn't like students just to rely on monthly exam only. Unfortunately, I noticed that some students are existing only in the monthly exam. Some students are not available mostly in the lectures that we presented. So is that okay? So is it just to be
Yes, doctor. Yes.
be the same with
Yes.
the students who are regularly participating? Of course, they are not to be evaluated. I mean, the same.
Doctor, can
For
I take a minute of your time?
yeah, tell me.
May I take a minute to ask about one of the points in the exam, if you don't
Yeah, tell
mind?
me. Yeah, tell me.
There was such a point
Yeah,
that says, state whether the following narrowing is perfect or not. This is a true-false point. And the narrowing
yeah,
was English literature,
yeah,
English plays, Shakespearean plays, King Lear play, and then
yeah.
the themes, all the themes of King Lear play. So,
Yeah.
what is the correct solution here?
The correct
Is this a
answer, the
perfect?
correct answer, yeah, the correct answer is false. You know why? Because
Yes,
it's still,
Yes.
yeah, it's still, it is not narrowed, because
It is.
we
We
have to
can
decide
narrow
which
it further
how many
and
themes.
choose a specific theme. We can narrow it
Yeah,
further
this,
and choose a
yeah.
specific theme.
You
Alhamdulillah.
remember that I
Yes.
used the assignments that you did.
Yes, doctor, we see that.
Yes, doctor.
Yes,
Yeah,
doctor, the same.
you know why? This is just to tell that there is an important point to consider by students. I mean, attending the lectures regularly is very important. You have to know that the examples will be included, or the assignments will be included in the exam, not only the material, because you see now you are going to judge, you are going to evaluate according to what?
Yes.
According to what we did in the lecture. So if you attend the lecture, you know, but if you didn't attend the lecture, you cannot. You see now, this is the
Alhamdulillah,
idea.
yes. I solved it
and
as
that's why,
false, but I remained in doubt.
and that's
Doctor,
why
we argue about this point.
and that's why I emphasize the regular attendance of students in the lecture. If they are not attending, they are going to answer by chance. If it is,
Yes, yes.
Yes, exactly.
but they don't know. If you ask them, they don't know. But this is not our aim. Our aim is just to understand what we have. It is not just to get mark and that's it. Okay. If you get marks now, what you are going to do for the coming year? You are going to write a research. So you study to understand and to apply for the coming year. It is not only just to get mark and that's it, and you forget
Yes,
all about,
doctor.
or you cannot understand everything that you have in the lecture. And this is my point.
Doctor,
And this is
also
my
the
aim.
recorder is very useful for us.
Sorry?
The recorder of the
what?
lectures is very useful for us. Yes.
Of the lectures. And
And
that's
we
why
thank
I'm
you about
recording.
this point. Yes.
And that's why I'm recording every lecture, because it will be a good document. So it is not only the book. It is not
Yes,
only
doctor.
Thank you very much, doctor. Thank you.
Doctor, and what about the report?
we don't have reports, by the way. We have assignments, and that's why the assignments will work just like a report. We don't have reports.
Yes.
So
we have assignment.
Don't make a report.
We did two
Yes.
assignments, if you remember, and still we have an assignment.
Yes.
So the assignments, let me say, the assignments will be the mark of the report. So we have reports.
Yes, doctor. Yes, I got it.
Doctor, we have around.
So what do we have? What do we have? We have assignments. We have
Yes.
oral exam. We are going to do it.
Yes. What about
we
oral
have
exam?
we have monthly exam, and we have attendance mark. Yeah.
Yes.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes.
So
doctor,
this is my advice for students to attend lectures regularly, to participate regularly, and just to do
Yes, doctor.
the assignments. You know, some students, unfortunately, some students send the assignment after the time of the assignment, and this will not be computed. This will not be considered. you have to tell them. You see, you
Yes,
have
doctor.
do it. You see, now we have a closing time. You know, closing time. I'm
Yes,
giving
yes.
you the
Yes.
assignment for a week.
Yes, doctor.
It doesn't mean it will be open. It doesn't mean that you are going to. I'm giving you a good
Yes,
time, a
doctor, of
week,
course.
a good time just to do and that's why this will be dated. You know, dated. What does it mean? I'm
Yes,
checking
yes,
the
doctor. Yes.
I'm checking the date. If it is within the closing time, it will be okay. And if it is out of the closing time, it will not be considered.
Yeah, doctor, we know that.
Doctor,
Yes.
Yeah.
and what
So
about if
to
we
tell,
have a mistake in assignment? So we learn, and this is the first time we will make this.
well, you know, the aim behind the assignment is just to train, it's just
Yes,
to
yes.
practice. So it is not only just to do the assignment. I'm asking you. You remember, I asked students.
Yes.
I'm choosing students by names, and unfortunately, some students are not existing, and this will be considered. By the way, if a student is not, I mean, available in the Google Meet while his or her name is mentioned, I mean, he will not take marks. So the
Yes,
idea
Yes,
here,
yes,
you
doctor.
have
Yes.
to be ready in the you have to be ready. You have to be ready
The
in
lecture,
the
yes.
when I say an assignment, it doesn't mean that you are going to send it and that's it. You have to be
yes,
ready
doctor.
to
To
what
discuss it, yes.
send it to tell about it. This is the idea.
Yes, doctor. That.
Any other question?
Doctor,
No, doctor,
about
thank you.
grade. When you give us, when
Sorry.
you do, when you give us the grade about exam.
The results shortly. Once I'm going to have electricity, and then I'm going to upload it in the Google Classroom. Maybe after half an
Yes.
hour. Half an hour. It will be.
Inshallah.
It will
Okay,
be okay.
doctor, thanks.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you,
Thank you
doctor.
very much, doctor.
Thank you.